That scene may or may not look familiar to you, but let's go over and talk about what we just saw. So I'm here today with Lauren Grouse from Real Life Real Talk and Jean Wynot Vickers from LearningWorks. Hello and welcome.
Good to be here.
So I was wondering, what advice would you give to parents who are in a similar situation where you think your child is sort of cruising along and doing what is expected of them and then suddenly find out that perhaps not all is as it should be?
Well, you know, when I look at that clip, the thing that I think about is how much pressure I think there is on teenagers today to do everything. So in this particular case, you know, here's a young woman who is doing a lot of extracurricular activities, right? She's trying to do what she thinks is the right thing to do and what she enjoys. Maybe she is thinking about doing those things to get into college. And she's also learning that she needs to balance her schoolwork with all of this. And so I guess my advice for parents would be that parents need to acknowledge that there is that pressure and ask their kids about what that feels like for them and help their kids learn how to prioritize the things that they're going to be doing in their life and have the conversation go so that the teenager feels some ownership over that decision.
Ownership. That's an interesting concept with kids who are maybe not ready, or are they ready to take ownership over those types of activities and thought processes? What do you think?
I think that they are still in a stage where they need some guidance. And so the parent's role really is to help them set the limits because they have a whole wide array of choices that they're very interested in pursuing and they're very worthwhile, but they have to sort of make some priority list of where are they going, what do they want for themselves, and then limit their clubs and their social activities to ensure that they still have the grades they need for that. If she has indicated she wants to go to college, that's very important that may be maintained. But it's not the same as setting an ultimatum. It's sort of sitting down, listening to them, finding out what might be interfering with her ability to make the right choice. Inevitably, they know what the right choice is. So it's about what's interfering with them.
Right. So helping them own their own goals is a big part of, I'm hearing, sort of the process here for parents. So for parents to help the child own their own goals, list making is a good idea to sit down with them. So for instance, in this scenario, they talked about the parent mentioning that they thought that they had gone over those goals with their child. So what can be the next natural step after going and setting these goals out? It can't be ultimatum, but there needs to be some sort of natural consequences. And that's a fine line for a lot of parents. Do you have any thoughts and feelings on that?
Well,
Why don't you go first this time?
I certainly do. I think that there is still an opportunity there for you to, if they cannot make those limits themselves, you still can. So you can still say there's a certain time I'd like you not to be out after 8 o'clock on weeknights. I mean, you still can help them enforce that. The other thing that you can do is be their excuse. That you can say whenever you need, you know that you are faced and there's some peer pressure for you to stay out or do this, you can say, no, my parents will kill me, you know, and use me as an excuse, but you have to make the right choice and I'll support you in however I can do that.
I would also add that you know, if we think about the adolescent brain and how the adolescent brain develops, the last part of the brain to develop is the part that is in charge of risk assessment and planning and organization. And those are all skills that are necessary in a situation like the one that we just saw on the clip. So I would suggest that the next step for these parents might be to check in with their daughter and basically say, you know, I thought we talked about this. I thought, you know, it was my understanding that we were in agreement about sort of how you were going to handle this and what changes you might make and how you're going to balance this. So what's going on for you? And just gather more information from her about, as Jean said, you know, what's getting in her way? What are the barriers to being able to follow through with this? And so parents at this stage, I think, can really be facilitators and supporters of their kids developing these organizational skills that, you know, their brain is not, it doesn't have the practice that adult brains have in doing all this. So it's sort of learning by doing. They have to go through these things. The natural consequence in this situation is the fact that her grades have gone down. She is experiencing a natural consequence. And so she needs to recognize that that's happening as a result of the choices that she's made in this specific situation.
So checking in, making sure that you're helping them develop those plans, asking them what their barriers are, and then reinforcing whatever rules that you have set up, I'm hearing are some great guidelines for parents with kids in this situation. Well, thank you very much. So if parents wanted to learn more about any of the tools that we talked about today, how can they learn more about your organizations?
Well, parents can find us online. realliferealtalk.org is our web address, and we can be reached by phone at 207-221-2288, extension 108.
Thank you, Lauren. And Jean?
And LearningWorks is located on 181 Brackett Street, and our number is 775-0105, also area code 207.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much for both of you coming today. We've learned a lot.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Thank you.